Good morning, everybody, and welcome to MarketStream.live. This is the Overnight Action Report. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group Securities offered by Money Block. Hey, this is where we cover everything that was happening in Asia overnight. It was definitely a interesting session. It looks like the sentiment has carried over into the global markets from the U.S. markets. The pullback is affecting the Asian markets overnight. As a matter of fact, we saw that Japan, taking a look at the Nikkei right now, finished the session down 1.32%. That's good for 261 points to the downside on the Nikkei 225. That's getting the Nikkei at 19,533. We haven't seen it there in about a week and a half. And after what has been a substantial run to the upside by Japanese stocks, challenging its 20-day moving average. It bounced off, so the bulls are still in control. But what's notable here is that the yen strength. If you look at the yen currency, the U.S. dollar versus the Japanese yen, the yen picked up the pace. It actually bounced off of what was some of its worst levels, and it held its 200-day moving average after dropping precipitously the previous session. What does that mean for Japan? That means that the yen strength is going to put pressure on the equity markets. What is notable, though, is that they had a pickup in GDP. It actually came in the first quarter at 0.5%. That's a little bit better, a tenth of a percent better than expectations. Really, folks, what's happening here is that there are traders that are concerned about what's happening in the U.S. Now, there's positive data coming out of Japan, but will it continue if the U.S. starts to get ugly? That's why you saw the sell-off in Japan. Let's see if it actually continues into the follow-up session tonight. Now, taking a look at China, China finished down almost 0.5%, 0.46%, down 14 points at 3,090.13. What's notable here is that could not get above its 20-day moving average. Obviously, because of the news out of the States, China's been under pressure. The bears have been in control for the last couple of months in China. There's uncertainty on how the government is going to be handling both the property markets and their lending standards, as well as taking a look at the securities markets and specifically the shops that are levered up pretty decently as far as margins concerned. There's a lot of concern about that. That's been notable. As you can see, the pullback here, the bears have taken control. But we saw that housing prices came out from the mainland. They're up 10.9% year over year. And if you look at last year, they were up about 11.1%. Previously, and so a little bit of a drop off, but they're still in the positive territory. So housing's holding up, the market held up. You can see that they finished well off of their lowest levels, so not as negative as what we saw with the precipitous drop in Japan. Hong Kong holding up as well, and the bulls are clearly in control here. They held up very nicely. Yes, the market was down 0.6% for 151 points to the downside at 25,136, but majority of the components held up to the upside. What was notable is Apple supplier. We talked about this a couple days ago. We saw this activity. AAC Technologies. Now, AAC Technologies came in. They're a big Apple supplier. They are down 9.8%. Gotham Research came out with a report last night that they are questioning the accuracy of their financials. This is something we want to watch very closely. Apple has taken the market and put it on its back. Let's see if this starts to raise some questions about what's going on, not only with AAC, but what's going on with Apple, because it's been screaming to the upside. Taking a look at India and the Sensex, really what's notable here is not the 0.7% pullback. That was significant, down 200 points. But the sector that was weighing on the market the most was autos, and specifically large cap auto named Tata Motors. Tata was down over 2.2% overnight. Let's watch this very closely. Automotive has been driving to the upside. This has been the most bullish index and segment in Asia. India, if they start to cool down, they're going to potentially challenge that 20-day moving average at 30,000, basically 30,100. watch this market very closely. All right, folks, that's it for the overnight action in Asia. You can see that the concerns about the U.S. economy, political atmosphere, and so forth are starting to roll over to the global markets. That means tighten up your risk. Make sure you keep your powder dry and stay tuned to MarketStream.live. We'll be back at 8:45 a.m. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on in Europe. See you then.